All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Shintastic Saturday. It is a beautiful day here in Southern California. We wanted to welcome all of you today for joining us from wherever you are. I know that we have people tuning in on Zoom here from all over the country and in Canada. So we want to welcome you, and we started this program, how long ago we start this? We started this just as the pandemic unfolded. So since that time, so that we can adapt to the changes that we all had to face during the last 4 months, we started this Zoom webinar, and it's been great. And so everyone's been tuning in on a weekly, I shouldn't say everyone, but many people. We started this off with about 30 to 50 people, and it's now escalated where, we get about 1,000 people tuning in. We've had several occasions where we had some overflow over to a live YouTube channel as well. So we've got a lot of great material and content for entrepreneurs and startup companies and solopreneurs. And I've been in business for, 30 years now. And as an entrepreneur, I've faced a lot of challenges, adversities. I've slayed on many minefields. And so my goal, my intention with you is to give you some different ideas to help you grow your business, and at the same time develop leadership in your organization, and at the same time maybe look at some other opportunities for you. Those of you that are joining us, maybe you're looking to make some extra money. So someone had invited you to jump on this webinar today and find out if there's an opportunity for you that you can make more money. So what I'd like to do real quickly is get started with my PowerPoint here. And so if you would just grab your cameras. Hopefully you're not looking through your phone right now. I was just told, somebody just texted me right now and they said, I'm driving and I'm watching your webinar on my phone. So I just would encourage all of you guys to pull over for a few minutes or just so watch this in front of your computer. Just want to make sure you're all driving safely. It's kind of crazy that you're going to be driving and watching at the same time. But take your cameras, if you would. If you're on your computer, take your camera. We've got so much content that we want to encourage you to take pictures wherever you'd like to. So let's go ahead and get started. We've got a couple announcements. My wife this morning woke up and she said, happy first day of summer. So I'd like to say the same thing to you. I thought we were already in summer, but apparently we weren't. So happy first day of summer to everyone. It is a beautiful day here in Southern California. And at the same time, we want to wish everyone a happy Father's Day. For all of you that are fathers out there, wishing you all the best. And what can we do without you and with mothers? But it is Father's Day, and we want to wish everyone a happy Father's Day. Also, next week on Tuesday, just so you know, there's a lot of wonderful TV shows that I grew up as a Generation X. A lot of people said, Generation X, John, I thought you were a baby boomer. No, I'm not a baby boomer. I grew up with these wonderful, wonderful television shows such as Charlie's Angels, The Love Boat, Heart to Heart, Dynasty, Beverly Hills 90210, Seventh Heaven, Mod Squad, The Rookies, Sunset Beach, and the list goes on. These shows were all produced by an amazing man named Aaron Spelling, who has done so much for the entertainment industry. And then he had some children, one of you that know, his daughter, Tori Spelling, and he has a son named Randy Spelling as well. And so next Tuesday, just so you all know, Randy Spelling will be joining our Zoom webinar next week. And so what I'd like you to do is take a picture of this link down below. You'll see it down on the right-hand side. You'll see it blinking with arrows, pointing to this. And I just want you guys to understand that it is case sensitive. So we get calls every day, right before the event starts, and they'll say, I can't register, I can't get in, the link you sent isn't good. The link is good, it's just a lot of people use upper letters or lowercase letters, and you got to be very specific. So in this instance, it would be the J, the S, the T, the two T's are all, it's got to be upper letters, and then everything else is lowercase. So it is case sensitive, okay? Now listen, folks, I want you to know this event will be completely booked because I know that Randy is also promoting this event to his audience as well. And so there's a lot of people that are going to be tuning in. So I want to encourage you to go today, right after this webinar. Make sure you go, make sure that you register, and then tell other people about it, because the content that Randy's going to be sharing, I think, are life-changing. And I think it's very important that you guys tune in and get some golden nuggets from Randy Spelling. Okay, so that's next week on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, also next week, I'm going to be doing some product training with a company called Legal Shield. We got two guest speakers, Jerry Kane and Glenn Wagstaff, who will be joining us, and they're going to be talking about trust, living trust, wills, pour over wills, advanced health directives, powers of attorney, guardianship documents, all these things, limited family partnerships. So Jerry is an attorney, and Glenn is one of the managing attorneys. So again, we just want you guys to tune in. It's absolutely free. I think you're going to get tremendous amount of information. So make sure you tune in for Legacy Shield. All right, now moving on. Those are just some of my announcements I wanted to make and just tell you how excited I am for our upcoming week and all the wonderful programs that we've got set aside for you. Now, just to give you a little bit of a background for you guys, those of you that don't know me, our journey, my wife, when I say our, I'm referring to my wife and I, our journey started in the early 90s where my wife wanted to start a business. We both went to law school and thought that we would end up starting our own law practice, law firm with several of our friends and colleagues. And my wife at the last minute just said, I have no desire to practice law. I would like to go in business for myself, do something else. And that's when she got into financial services. And so about a year later, I decided to join my wife. Took her about a year to convince me. And so what was very evident to me was, being, of a law background, I just needed to see evidence that this new venture that my wife started was real. So we started our company in the financial service industry. And I'll tell you what, we made money, but it was very difficult. It was very challenging. Like, we were working probably 90 hours a week, 7 days a week, nonstop. I mean, we felt like there was no life for each other. What's the word I want to say? We were married. We were newlyweds, and newlyweds should be spending quality time with each other, and instead we were very focused on our business. And so we started to realize that maybe this business idea wasn't for us until we was recommended a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And this book, for those of you that are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, you really should Google it. Think and Grow Rich is like the godfather of personal development, leadership, mindset, training, things like that. And Napoleon Hill, this book, Think and Grow Rich, has now gone on to sell over 200 million copies around the world. It makes it the #1 book in personal development, and there are only 5 books since 1937. And I think there was another one like in the 1400s, a book called Don Quixote, sold even more. But that was since 1937, only 5 books. It was a book called Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and let's see, Twilight Saga. You got the Bible, and you have Think and Grow Rich, and that's it. And so my wife and I embraced the principles of this book. We applied it to our business and to our personal life. And before we knew it, we saw some massive changes in our life and at a personal level and in business, okay? When we say think and grow rich, we're not talking about being rich just financially. We're talking about being rich in all areas of your life. And so, I've embraced this book for almost 3 decades now, and I can't tell you how important it is for you to read this book, Think and Grow Rich. You can get it on Amazon. But I had the privilege with a group of others that we came together and made this movie called Think and Grow Rich, The Legacy. We got the approval from the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and I'm the executive producer of this movie, and this movie has gone viral all over the world, okay? So I just got a message here that my audio wasn't very good. So I just want to make sure you guys can hear my audio. Is my audio doing all right? Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, someone just, there's a little thing there. It says my audio quality was low. So, but I appreciate that feedback. Thank you. And I appreciate you guys texting me, or those of you that have my text message or my phone number. So anyway, we made this movie. It's gone viral around the world. And during the crisis that we're all facing today, we've been doing movie nights on Friday nights, showing this movie absolutely free. It's movie night. We've asked you to bring your family, your children, parents, whoever that lives in your home. and watch this movie. And the responses have been amazing. And some people have said, where can I get the movie? And I just want you guys to know it is available on my website at johnshin.com. You can go there and purchase the DVD. We will go ahead and fulfill this and send this out to you right away so that you can watch this at your own home. So there you have it. Now, the original book was a different cover, but this is the modern day version, Think and Grow Rich. And then a few years later, a book called Think and Grow Rich, a Black choice read it, and I highly recommend you guys read this. Again, you don't have to be Black to watch or to read this book. Then a few years later, a Latino choice came out by Lionel Sosa. Again, you don't have to be Latino or Hispanic, right? And then a few years later, Think and Grow Rich for Women came out by Sharon Lechter. And those of you that don't know who Sharon Lechter is the one who helped write the book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad that many of you are familiar with Robert Kiyosaki. In fact, she was the CEO and ran the company for about 10 years. And then she just went on to do other things and some new doors open, right? So let's say that door closed, a new chapter opens up. And she's now, you know, obviously came out with this book called Think and Grow Rich for Women. Now, by the way, a little promotion for Sharon. She also has another book out called Outwitting the Devil. And I'll tell you what, it's another amazing book that I think you guys should all read. But now, so you got the Black choice, Latino, and women, and there wasn't an Asian version of this. And so I approached the Napoleon Hill Foundation and asked the managing director, Don Green, if I could actually have the rights to do this, and he gave me that honor. And it's just what a privilege it was to do this. And so I spent about a year and a half interviewing people, some amazing business leaders, as you can see on the screen. And then all these people are now in my book, and we've now sold the book online, going viral around the world in other countries. And what's cool is I always went into the airport, and I would always walk into the bookstores or the stores in there and say, oh man, I wish I had a book one day that I could put on one of these shelves. And before I knew it, it was there. So this book was in all the airports. Now, unfortunately, over the last 4 months, there's been no sales in airport sales, but it is available on Amazon. And then we made the ebook version. We got the audio version. And I am so passionate about the content in this book and how it will take you step by step, you know, through your business life. You know, what I think that when most people have challenges, the things that we talk about in this book, there's about 13 different principles. One of those principles is one of the reasons why your business isn't growing, okay? Or your personal life is in disarray. If you would start to read this book and embrace it, I'm telling you that whether it's your personal life, your spiritual faith, your spiritual life and your faith and love and health and nutrition and marriage and finance could all, in my opinion, really be enhanced because you start to apply the principles. So this month, in the month of June, I did talk to the Napoleon Hill Foundation along with the publisher called Sound Wisdom. They are my publisher, and so grateful for them and all the things that Sound Wisdom has done for us. I'm just eternally grateful. And I asked them, you know, right now the ebook is available on Amazon for $27.95. Well, I talked to them to slash that price, not all the way down to $24.95 or $19.99, but all the way down to a rock bottom price, you guys. And this will only happen probably in the month of June. So I want you guys to please go right now and to this weekend and get this ebook version. It's $2.99. I'm telling you, I've had everyone who's read it has, you know, you're always going to have like 1 or 2, you know, the percent that are just I don't know, I think they just intentionally go onto YouTube and different sites and want to say negative things, but 99% of the people, the real people who actually bought the book, read it, applying the principles, it's the raves, they've been raving about it, and it's music to my ears to hear that kind of stuff. So again, I encourage you to get this. And then if you have read it, I certainly need your help, okay? And what I need your help to do is to, after you read it and listen to it, if you do the audio, is to do me a favor and put a review on Amazon for me. I would really, really appreciate it. You know, I think it's important today that you give feedback about the book, and I appreciate the comments that people have made. And so please make a recommendation or a review, make a comment on there. I'd appreciate a good one at least, you know. So there you have it. And then, of course, 4 years ago, we went on a tour, and we called it the Think and Grow Rich Legacy World Tour. Our intention was to go to 12 countries, 34 states. And of course, we started last year, and we had wonderful progress, and this year came to a screeching halt. So having said all that, you know, our intention was to go and help people in business and their personal life. But in fact, for me, I gained a lot out of this tour. I mean, for me personally, I learned so much. And so I just can't tell you, you know, the kind of impact that this tour had on me and the people that I shared the stage with, people that our collaborative efforts to go and help people. And so I've shared the stage with amazing people like Condoleezza Rice. Many of you guys know a show called Shark Tank. We also have another person named Shin. A lot of you may not know him, but he is a big Hollywood actor and entrepreneur. And maybe you guys know his son, Charlie Sheen, okay? And then, of course, we've got Rob Dyrdek, who was also in my movie. And so I don't want to say but our movie, because I don't want to take the credit, because there's been other amazing people like Scott Servine, who is also the producer and also a director of the movie as well. And then Andrew Graham, also, who's an amazing partner of mine. But Stedman Graham, a lot of people, if you don't know Stedman, he is an amazing individual. In fact, his significant other, spiritual partner, business partner, many of you guys may know her. Her name is Oprah. So this is Oprah's spiritual partner, business partner. And so this is Stedman at my house, and we had some great strategies about doing some business together. And you know, his background, he used to be a basketball player. He's about 6'8", 6'9". And a lot of people say, hey, John, if he's that tall, how tall are you? And I said, well, I'm 5'8". And they said, well, how is it then that your picture standing beside Stedman, that you're actually taller than him? And that's because that's what folding chairs are for, okay? So anyway, that's Stedman, amazing man. And I think that when this pandemic is over, you'll see Stedman and I doing some things internationally. So then we got people like Steve Aoki, that is also in my book. We got Mario Lopez, who's got a great podcast called Listen to Mario. Mario last year and I started to do a lot of different hosting. We started hosting some events together last year. And one of the greatest honors, as I watch television shows like Games of Thrones, I don't watch a lot of regular TV, but I certainly enjoyed the series Games of Thrones, you know, Lord of the Rings, anything in chivalry, right? Anything that has to do with those medieval times. I love those kind of movies, you know. The history there. I've always wanted to own a castle, right? But I love anything that has to do with knighthood. And I always, like, when I'm watching these, I always said, man, I wish I could be a knight one day and get a sword and be on a horse and go and help people and all the, you know, people in the villages and protect them, you know, be a protector of the realm. And so, you know, as a child growing up, I always dreamed of this stuff, you know, and it's crazy. It's like I felt like my wife and I are living this life of you know, Cinderella. You know, it's pretty amazing that last year my wife and I both were knighted by the Royal Order of Constantine the Great and St. Helen, which is currently now it is the oldest and longest knight order that is still in existence today. And so my wife was damed as well last year at the same time. And so it was a tremendous honor. And the people that I've had this wonderful relationship to build with other knights and dames and ladies and barons and dukes around the world, what a great honor it's been. So, you know, I've had an amazing life, I have to tell you. And I don't tell you that to sound braggadocious, but I tell you all this, you know, because I think that your life could look differently too. You know, one of the questions that I get a lot, and lately I've been doing a lot of different podcast shows, and I think next week, I think I've got like 1 to 2 podcasts a day and other people's shows. You know, they say, how did this all happen? And I want you to know it happened through prayer. I mean, we prayed all the time, my wife and I. Ever since we got married, we'd get down on our knees and we put our hands together and we'd pray. And it's amazing that when you pray and the things that we ask for, you know, I don't think you ever wonder that maybe God may be sending you what you're asking for in a different package, right? I mean, just think about that for a second. You know, God, you might be praying to God right now for something in your life. Maybe it's money, okay, finances. You know, you're unemployed, you've been furloughed. You're not sure if you're going to be able to go back to a job, though certain businesses are opening up. And you know, it's so nice to hear that certain businesses are able to open up so they can start making money again for their family. It's been a tough time for a lot of people over the last 4 months. And it's not just for people here in Southern California. I mean, right? We know and recognize this is a worldwide problem. But a lot of you are saying, man, God, please, if you could just send me $1 million somehow. And I don't know. I mean, God does work in mysterious ways, but I don't think he's going to send you, you know, FedEx in a briefcase $1 million, right? Or 100,000. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he will. I mean, but I do believe he sends you or introduces you to different people, okay? And I hope that right now, as you and I are kind of having this conversation, you know, virtually, you know, I'm not a hologram, but I mean, I'm here, you know, and I'm trying to reach out to you, and I'm so glad that we can meet like this, but I would love to meet you face to face one day. I wish that you and I can have a, you know, a one-on-one virtual kind of conversation, right? But I believe that timing is everything, you know, and God sends you different things in a different package. And I think that right now, you being here with us, with me, is there's a reason for this, right? I mean, all the things that you could have done today, you're here and you're watching this, okay? So I believe that timing has a lot to do with it, all right? And maybe this is a new door opening for you. And you know, when we started our business back in, you know, the early 90s, my wife, who was very analytical, she's very analytical, believe it or not. I'm not analytical, right? But she is. She is so analytical that she went back to the early 40s and began to analyze all the different companies and industries that were doing well. And what she came to me was very compelling. It was so compelling that I actually quit my job and started working with her, right, full time. And this became our bread and butter. And so she recognized that there is a generation of people born between 1946 to 64, and these baby boomers today, roughly 80 million of them, that as they were growing up, right, as babies, now they're growing and growing and growing and growing. And can you imagine that today the first baby boomer turned 74 years of age? But if we look back, right, over the last many decades, do you think it was coincidence that in the mid-40s that it was all baby food and the baby industry that was doing well? Companies like, you know, Johnson & Johnson and Gerber Food, they were doing well. See, I don't think it was all just coincidence. And then suddenly it was Mattel Corporation, right, and Hasbro. And then all of a sudden, the next generation, the next group of business, it was fast food. Companies like McDonald's and KFC, right? And then came the auto industry, and then came the technology era in the 90s, right? Then came real estate. And I don't know if you guys remember that whole real estate boom, and then the real estate bust. And then in '08, we faced the financial crisis because the financial industry got somewhat greedy, not somewhat, they were greedy. And so we had to face the financial debacle there for a few years. And we've recovered from that because we're just extremely resilient people. And here we are. We're here. We're in the year 2020, and the first baby boomer is now here in the retirement industry. And I think more now than ever, as you talk to people, they are talking about retirement, right? They're saying, hey, if they go to a job, they're asking about their 401k plans and their IRAs or their benefits and all that kind of stuff. So the time has come. And I just want you to realize that, you know, even big celebrities like Jay-Z, Will Smith, Mark Wahlberg, Robert Downey Jr., all these people have now got into this industry, okay? So when you sit there and you look at these people, all these celebrities and other wealthy people, Warren Buffett and other, you know, multi-billionaires, why are they coming into the financial service industry? Or they already were, like Warren Buffett, in the financial service industry? Because let me just tell you something, there is a need. When you look at somebody like Will Smith, you may think of him as just an A-list celebrity and he's like a movie star and that's it. Let me tell you something, Will Smith is not just an actor, right, or a rapper, okay? This guy is a businessman. I mean, this guy is an entrepreneur. Dwayne Johnson, right, The Rock, is not just a big Hollywood actor, though he's made some amazing movies, extremely entertaining, a lot of action. But let me just tell you, and a former wrestler, right? But The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is an entrepreneur. He's a businessman. And all these people, when you talk to them, you're going to be shocked to discover that they're so financially savvy, much more savvier than you would imagine them, okay? And it's not like, I mean, they do have some great people around them, some smart people, but they too are financially literate. Now, let me just tell you, most people that I talk to, most business owners, even doctors, right, are not financially literate. And so how is this happening? I mean, I've got people who go to college and get degrees, come out of college, financially ignorant, right? Don't know anything. And so I want you to realize that as we sit here and examine what is going on in our country, in our 50 states, in 2012, that's just 8 years ago, right? 37 states required sex education, okay? Now, I'm not saying, oh my God, 37 states taught sex, right, in their school education. That's not the bad thing. I'm glad they're talking about that because our children need to understand, you know, how to prevent teenage pregnancy, right? To understand STD and AIDS and things like that. And so I understand and I think it's important. However, the point I want to make here is that if our children are old enough or mature enough to understand sex, then I think they're old enough and mature enough to understand money at the same time, right? How does finance work? And these 4 states right here, Tennessee and Virginia, Missouri, and Utah, are the only 4 states in our 50 states that require financial literacy. That is it, okay? Now let's see the progress in the United States. In 2015, we had 1 state, and it's right underneath Tennessee, which is Alabama, okay? That's it. It's only 5 states right now require financial literacy in 2015. Let's fast forward to today, okay? Let's go to 2020. Now, since that time, we added 2 more states. Now, the good news is we're making progress. The bad news is it's slow. You know, can you imagine that other countries are teaching financial literacy into their school systems at a very young age, like in 7th grade, they're teaching this stuff. And we don't even teach it to our children in college here in the United States. So, you know, and so the good news is we're making progress, but it's very slow. And so this gives us an opportunity to go out there and start teaching people how money works, right? We got to teach them how money works. And so one of the things that I want to talk to you guys about today is the 6 steps to financial security, 6 steps to financial security. Now, these 6 things are the financial pillars, right? Like the absolute financial pillars, in my opinion. And I just want you to know that our family, we've embraced these principles, okay? We don't just tell you guys to do it. We share this with other people. We talk the talk and walk the walk, okay? We understand increasing cash flow. Now more than ever, it is no longer just a luxury, okay, to have multiple streams of income, but it is an absolute necessity now, okay? I can't imagine that you now, after experiencing a pandemic and an outbreak, suddenly you can just be dependent on one stream of income like a job, where you're going there and exchanging time for money, right? I mean, this is the time where you now have to go, oh, it's like one of those aha moments, right? Where you go, man, I need to start making more money on the side. And I don't know what that business idea or venture may be for you, but maybe the financial service industry could be it, to educate others, for you to understand how money works, right? But no, there's no better time than right now to start increasing and starting a business of some sort, you know, whether you have a brick and mortar or a stay home, you know, home type business. I'm telling you, you got to increase your cash flow. Number 2 is to manage your debt. You got to get out of debt as quickly as possible. And if you're on this call, right, or the Zoom webinar with me right now, and you're in debt, whether it's credit card debt, student loan debt, IRS debt, you're in debt. Those are the kinds of debt that's not good. Now, just believe it or not, there's actually something called good debt and there's something called bad debt. But let's talk about your bad debt. You got to get out of debt as soon as possible. And if you don't know how to get out of debt, I really want to spend some time in showing you how to get out of debt. Okay, now more than ever, you should recognize and go, oh, I better start an emergency fund, right? We've had emergencies since 2008. Everybody's starting to realize that, man, you better have an emergency fund. Some of you guys, you're like already wanting to go buy a house, right? But you don't even have an emergency fund, right? You want to go buy a house, but you've got a lot of credit card debt, okay? So before you try to go out there and buy real estate, and all these people are saying, now's the time to buy real estate, I would have to disagree with that. I think number one is you got to take this time and get yourself out of debt, right? You better make sure that before you buy a house, make sure you're debt-free. Make sure that you have an emergency fund, and then you can start thinking about buying a house, okay? And number four is to protect your family, man. Make sure that you've got long-term care insurance. You got disability insurance, some sort of an income replacement, so that if you became disabled, right, whether it's through a car accident, some sort of an injury, you fell off a ladder, something, some changes in your body that cause you to have an illness or something. If your income stops because you can't work, man, I'm telling you, it's going to be devastating financially, okay? Just absolutely devastating. So, man, I'm so passionate about this. I'm like busting a sweat in here. I don't know if the air is working or not, but maybe we should crank up the air, guys. We have an air conditioning shortage or something? All right, cool. Number five is to create a long-term savings account. Number six is to preserve your assets and preserve your estate. Now, this number six is the stuff we're training on in the next week. So as I kind of talked to you about that earlier. So these are all the things I'm talking about. And so here's the thing. When you're sick, where do you go? Right? You typically go to see a doctor at a hospital, right? And when you go to a hospital, you're going to probably see, if you go to, let's say, a Kaiser as an example, you're going to see your primary care physician, a PCP. And then your primary care physician tells you to see a specialist. Now, as you see the specialist, okay, that specialist then tells you to start to see a radiologist, a cardiologist, an oncologist, or whatever, and you start to see all these different specialists, okay? So I want you to take this idea of what a hospital has done and what we've done and what we've created over the last 30 years, okay? What we created was our own financial hospital. Bless you, Matthew. All right, now, I don't know if you guys heard him sneeze in the background. It was my son. Anyway, we created a financial hospital, right? So what we do in our company is just about everything, right? I mean, we're in the lending space. We loan money out. And a lot of people have been applying for different programs like the PPP and the EIDL. And, it's interesting now, there's a few people that got the money. They go, oh, I went online and I filled this out and I got my EIDL money, right? And so they feel like they're experts now. And so there's other people now coming into the space. Suddenly they get a loan for themselves and now they think they're experts and they want to go everybody else. But we've been doing this thing for the last 30 years. Okay, in fact, this is how we started. In the early 90s in 1991, okay? And then from here, we got into merchant processing and people who have credit card processing. If you only knew how many hidden fees, right? And what I call nonsense fees, or some people call BS fees, or whatever you want to call it. These fees, these hidden fees inside credit card processing that people don't know. So our job, right, and our mission and our story is about looking at your credit card statement and showing you how much Square is charging you, right? Or Stripe or PayPal, and how much they're overcharging you for all your credit card transactions. You may say, oh, well, they're only charging me 2.2% or whatever. You'd be shocked to find out it's probably more than that, okay? Wait till you see all the other hidden fees and junk fees that are in there. Now, moving on, we also do property and casualty, right? We do long-term care and health insurance and life insurance and disability and income replacement. We do annuities, and we do some course. If you go on my YouTube channel, we did a webinar on annuities and if they're really bad or good. I know that they talked about webinars being really bad. Not webinars, annuities being really bad. But they're not all that bad. It's amazing how many people act like they're experts in the annuity business, but they really don't even know what an annuity is, okay? We also do college planning and retirement services, and we do RIA, investment advisory. We do tax strategies and different types of, business planning, and we do estate planning and all that. So we created this one-stop financial hospital, if you would, okay? And now we've opened up offices in all 50 states right now. We've got some up in Canada. And we've grown. We've got over 200 offices, right? When I say an office, I was saying like a brick and mortar type operation. I mean, we were not just all home-based. Though what we've discovered over the last 4 months is being at home has been just as effective as working, you know, let's say in a brick and mortar office type building. So there you have it. Now look, folks, I've invested in a lot of different businesses in my life. And you can see just, you know, just a few. I still own some of these companies and some we've sold. But I mean, one thing you're going to realize is that I get into a business where, one, it's either a need or a luxury, okay? Because I believe that if it's a necessity, right, or an essential business, okay, that you're going to do a lot better during different economic ups and downs versus being in a luxury or entertainment type industry, right? Or like a resort. Those are tough. You know, casinos and vacation places, right? Those are tougher than having a business that's a need or an essential type business. So let me just tell you right now, in my opinion, if you don't come out of this quarantine, folks, with some sort of a new skill, some new knowledge, and a new side hustle, then you did not lack time, but you lack discipline, in my opinion, okay? Now, if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll actually see an episode there on how to get more discipline into your life, okay? And whatever business you do, not only should it be a necessity, but make sure that there's opportunities there where there's passive and or residual income, okay? And there is a big difference between passive income, okay, and residual income. So, you know, passive is when you invest money in stocks, rental properties, right, annuities, high yield savings account. These are all passive income. Whereas like residual income is income you receive after a sale and you continue to receive money, okay? So these are examples of being an author, movies, producers, songwriters, singers, and guess what? Financial services, okay? So I just want to maybe encourage you, not maybe, I want to highly recommend to you guys that you look at the financial service industry and that you get with the person who invited you here today and say, okay, I want to talk to John, or I want to talk to one of his managers or one of his partners and find out more about this. I think I'm very intrigued what John has to say, and as a result, I want to explore this a bit more. So again, I want you to know that we've got all the systems in place. Over the last 3 decades, we have created business format systems, financial format systems, licensing format systems, personal development systems. We've created leadership format systems. We've done it all, okay? And that's why I implore you to please go and talk with the person who invited you, find out how you can make more money, and get more details on how money works, or you can just talk to me directly, okay? So if you saw one of my ads or whatever on Facebook, Instagram, just, you know, reach out. We're here, okay? We're 7 numbers away. Now, one of the things that I want to do is talk to you guys about a very topic, okay? And that is how to become a believer in people, all right? Now, when I say a believer in people, this lesson I'm going to give you guys is not just about, you know, your organization, but how about the organization in your own house, right? So what if it's to your spouse, your children, your employees, your staff, your colleagues, whoever? How do you become a believer in people, okay? So let's talk about this here for a second and how you believe, okay, in people. All right, now, so here's the first thing. See, all of you, Napoleon Hill in the book Think and Grow Rich says in chapter 2, he talks about faith, right, and how important faith is. And you need to have faith in others before you try to persuade them to believe in themselves. Okay, let me just say that again one more time and how important that is, okay? You need to have faith in others before you begin to even persuade them to believe in themselves, okay? So this is a very, very, very important lesson, okay? Every person, in my opinion, every person has, quote unquote, right, the seeds of greatness, okay? The seeds of greatness within. See, I believe that everyone is wired for success, but programmed to fail. Okay, right? They're wired for success and programmed to fail. I'm not here to preach, but I want you to know that every single one of you that's watching this right now, and there's a lot of you, right? I mean, a lot. I'm just going to take a quick peek and see. I don't know why I can't see mine. All right, cool. Yeah, there's a lot of you watching right now, okay? You all have seeds of greatness. You really do. Now, it may be dormant right now. And it may be dormant because the things that you're watching, right? You've been discouraged, right? It's like there's no hope, all right? You're watching the news. And I'm telling you, like, I don't watch the news all day long. I mean, I just don't. In fact, I don't have to watch the news because most people will text me and they'll say, John, did you hear this? Did you hear this? Like, I didn't even know what was going on in Seattle until I was talking to one of my clients, and he had alluded to this, you know, what was happening in Seattle. I didn't even know that there was protesting going on until a bunch of people were telling me, hey, what do you think about the protest? I'm like, what protest, right? I didn't even know because I've been sitting in front of my computer just going to what? Like one person to the next, one person to the next, like literally from the morning all night, like 15 hours a day. I'm glued to my seat, and I try to get on our treadmill, walk around our house, get some exercise. And of course, my wife recently bought a ping pong table at our house, and that, believe it or not, that actually gives you a workout, right? But a lot of people, like their spirits, their seeds have become, their great seeds of greatness have become dormant. So when you believe in people, you water the seeds and give them a chance to grow, okay? And so I want you to know, you as a parent, you as a leader, you as a manager, you as the owner of a business, you as an entrepreneur, okay? You got to begin watering the seeds of greatness in people. And this is you. This is what leadership does. Every time you put faith in that person, in these people, you're giving them life-sustaining water. You're giving them warmth. You're giving them food. You're giving them nutrition. You're giving them light, okay? And if you continue to give them encouragement, okay, through your belief in them, these people will bloom in time, okay? So when I say encouragement, I want you to think of something. I want you to start to practice EPR every day, EPR. Now, E stands for encourage, right? We're going to come back to you and what P and what R stands for in a moment. But I want you to start to continue encouraging people every single day, all right? So now we're going to talk about emphasis, okay? I want you to start to emphasize things in people. And what I mean by that is I want you to start focusing on their strengths. I think right now our society, right, and our news, right, the media, the newspapers, our online, the Yahoo News, magazines, all these things are all focusing on the weaknesses of people, okay? And they're only looking for the negative things in people. Instead of looking for the positive things, looking for the strengths in people, they're looking at all the negative stuff. And let me just tell you something. If you look for negative things, right, I promise you, you're going to find it. And so what we're expecting from people is perfectionism, right? We're looking for everybody to be perfect. And here's the thing. We're not perfect. That's just the way God created us, right? We're not going to be near, right, where we want to be. Our whole life is to be our best, right? But I don't think we will, okay? But you got to be the best version of you every day, to be the best person, right? And focusing on your strengths. I can't imagine. I talk about this all the time, that I'm a human being. I'm a man. Cut me and I'll bleed. Shoot me and I'm going to probably die, okay? I'm a human being, and I make mistakes, okay? And I might say things sometimes to, you know, people or publicly here. I might say things to my children. I mean, I'm not sitting here telling you guys all this stuff here and saying, hey guys, I'm perfect at this. I'm not. I still work on it daily. I want to be the best son. I want to be the best brother. I want to be the best uncle. I want to be the best to everyone on a daily basis. And especially to my wife, I want to be the best husband, right? I mean, she had a choice to meet any man and marry some guy, and she ended up marrying me, you know, and I don't want that to be a mistake on her part. So I want to be the best husband, right? Because she had one shot at this, okay? And so she ended up marrying me, and I'm grateful, and I'm glad that we've been married for over 25 years now, okay? We just celebrated our 25th anniversary. And I just want you to know that as we're building our relationship, she doesn't look at me and go, look at all his flaws, right? Look at all the mistakes, right? And I think my children recognize that too. My parents and my sister go, well, we love John, but he's not perfect, right? So I have some imperfections, right? Just like everybody else does. So everybody makes mistakes, right? We say things to people that we regret later, right? But hey, is that really like somebody has been great for 99% of the time, and the one time that they say something wrong or do something wrong, we're going to crucify these people? See, I think that we have to forgive, right? I mean, our Heavenly Father, here I go. I feel like I'm preaching. I'm in Sunday school, right? But your Heavenly Father's forgiven you, right? Why can't you forgive, right? It's a time to forgive. And I want you to start focusing on people's strengths, okay? Look, we as humans, right? This humanity has faced so many challenges and adversities for centuries, since mankind was conceived, right? We've all made mistakes. We're sinners, okay? And so here's the thing. You're helping them, the individual, believe that they possess what they need to succeed with if you focus on their strengths. If we don't focus on their strengths and we look at all their negative things and the things that they're weak at, then guess what? We're not going to move forward. There's going to be no progress. So I want you to start emphasizing and looking at the strengths of people, okay? Believing in people before they have even proved themselves, right? I don't want you to treat people of who they are, but I want you to treat people of who they're going to become, right? And I believe that if you start treating people, right, and talking to them as leaders before they're leaders, is the key to motivating people to reach their potential. Okay, look, all of us weren't born as leaders, right? None of us was born with millions of dollars. I mean, some people were, but guess what? We all started at the bottom. Okay, and then I want you to praise them for praise them for what they do well, right? Whether it's privately or publicly. So remember, I told you about EPR. So E was what? Encouraging, encouragement. P is to praise. Praise people every day. Praise them every hour. Praise them every single second, right? And you might say, oh, God, but I praised yesterday. I'm good. I mean, I did my thing yesterday. But then you got to do it again today. And you got to do it every hour, right? I mean, whoever you see, praise publicly and privately, okay? And so tell these people how much you appreciate them, their positive qualities, and for their skills, right? Do you do this with your employees? Do you do this with your staff? Do you do this with your children? Do you do this with your parents? Do you do this with your wife, your husband, right? Your siblings, your brothers and sisters? Do you tell them that you appreciate them? Do you talk to your parents every single day? You know, I am a fanatic about talking to my parents. I mean, almost every day, not almost, like literally every day. I can't imagine. I feel empty, right? That I don't call my parents on a daily basis. I know my wife talks to her mother every single day. In fact, they even have a time, right? So they don't forget, like that's their time. They talk to each other every single day, okay? Do we tell them that we appreciate them for who they are and what they've done and how they raised you, right? And for those of you that are younger today, and you're going, what do you mean by younger? Man, guess what? If you're 50 years old, you're still a baby to your parents. If you're 40 years old, you're still a baby to your parents. Some of you guys are 25 and you think, well, I'm a big boy or girl now. But to your parents, you're still a baby, right? Do you still turn to your parents and recognize and understand and appreciate and tell them what a wonderful mother they were, what a wonderful father they were, and how those parents raised you? They fed you. Your mother carried you in her womb for 9 months. And then when you were born, they wiped your diapers. They cleaned your ass. They fed you. They stuck a baby bottle inside your mouth every day so you can eat. She had an umbilical cord tied to you so she could actually feed you through an umbilical cord, right? And so these are things that you have to be appreciative of. And when was the last time you called your mother or your father and said, thank you for being a great parent? Maybe today, it's Father's Day. You reach out to your father and say, thanks for being a great dad, right? So anytime you acquire the opportunity to compliment people and praise them in the presence of their family and close friends, do it, right? Do it. Like you're like, but I feel so uncomfortable. You shouldn't. right? I mean, you got to make this like a natural thing where you're doing it all the time. So I want you to begin to learn, make it a habit of emphasizing on a daily basis, okay? Now, next thing, I want you to begin to list their past success. Okay, like I'm going to show you a picture of one of my mentors, right? This guy right here, his name is Monty Holm. And I am so grateful for this man. And he says to me, he told me one time, he said that, John, everyone, and these were his words verbatim. He said, everyone has an invisible sign hanging over his or neck saying, make me feel important. Never forget this message when people are working with people, right? Is that, guess what? Make me feel special. Make me feel important. Make me feel like I'm wanted, right? And see, and he said to me, and I'll never forget this, he said, the single most basic human need is a sense to belong, right? Like nobody wants to be rejected, right? Nobody wants to say, you're not included, right? You know what, you can't be a part of this group, right? And kids, these kids, like when they grow up, they want to be a part of the popular what? Clique in school. So they do things to fit in, right? And then if they don't fit in with all the popular kids, they do silly things so they can be accepted, to be recognized, right? Whether it's good or bad, okay? And then guess what? As we go older, we start to what? To want to be what? To be acknowledged. And so as we're seeing all these protests and people say, well, I don't understand why they're protesting, right? Well, because guess what? A lot of people in life, in society, the Black community, right? The Asian community, the Latino, Hispanic, the European, the Middle Eastern, right? The LGBTQ, all the letters, right? They want to be what? Acknowledged and accepted, and they're saying, this is who we are. Make me feel important. Make me feel special. And Monty Holm told me this, and I was like, of course, right? I mean, of course, everybody wants to be a part. The single most basic human need is a sense to belong. So I ask you, I mean, do you do things to feel like in your organization, in your company, that you make everybody feel like they belong? Okay, so that's why it's important, especially nowadays, the younger generation, the millennials, the generation Y and the generation Z, you know, they went into corporate America and they wanted to what? Belong. They want to be a part of a community. And all of a sudden there were cubicles, right, that were 8 feet tall, and they were stuck in this little cubicle that's 3 by 3 or 4 by 4, and they sat there for 8 hours. They didn't feel like they belong in the organization, and so they didn't want to be there anymore. Okay, and this is why corporate America, most corporations were trained like you need to lower those what? Those big old cubicles. And now guess what? If you go into most corporate America, like if you go to the Google campus or other major corporations, it's like a big bullpen and everybody sees everyone, right? They have tables now, right? Where they're all sitting together, right? It's like a community now because they want to belong. They want to be a part of a team, okay? And so this is why it's so important. And I can't emphasize this enough, right? Do you have meetings with your families, folks, right? Do you bring your children into your, den, office, kitchen, family room and have a weekly meeting? Well, why not? I mean, you have weekly meetings at church. You have weekly meetings in your businesses. Why don't you have a weekly meeting with your family and your kids, right? Is the whole family on the same page, right? Is one child going this way and the other one's going this way, and the husbands and domestic partners and wives are all going different ways? Is the family cohesive, and are they on the same page? Okay, so again, I want you to know that this page, and what Monty shared with me earlier in my leadership development is so important. Okay, next here is this: list their past success. One of the best ways to do this is to help people remember their past successes. Okay. Now, look, I talk to people and I say, you need to start a business. And I hear a lot of women say, well, I've been a mother for, 20, 30 years. I've been busy. I've been doing their homework. I haven't had a job in corporate America for so many years. but I'm good at laundry. I can cook food. I can do Girl Scouts. I can do Boy Scouts. I can do fundraising. But me being a business owner, and I'm like, oh, no, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. I hear this all the time, right? Or even fathers who say, I don't think I'm an entrepreneur. I don't think I can do it. But I want you to know that you can, okay? And you can. In fact, you know, it's amazing, you know, if you sit there, mothers, listen to me, hold on, listen, mothers. If you can carry a child in your womb for 9 months, okay, for 9 months, and then go through that excruciating pain of delivering a baby, delivering a child into this world, okay? Now, I could not say that I've experienced what you've experienced, but I can tell you this. I think God wired you this way. In fact, I believe that women have a higher tolerance for pain than men. Right? I mean, that's why God created you the way you are so that you would carry the child and not a man, okay? And so, I mean, I sit there and believe it or not, most men, it's like they get a little cut and they're already crying, right? I mean, they're not as tough as they look. On the outside, they got the machismo, they're tough, right? I'm badass, like, ooh, you know, got the testosterone. And then all of a sudden they get a little cut and then the wife comes rescuing them and, you know, it's pretty funny, right? But women, let me just tell you something. If you can give birth to a child, and I've seen my wife go through this 4 times with our 4 kids, right? Let me just tell you, if you can give birth, there's nothing that you cannot endure. Okay? And so the thought of you not being able to start a business and run a business is nonsense, okay? You can do anything. If you can give birth to a child, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14 kids, and then feed them, do their home, and do their laundry, and then put up with your other child, your husband, in many cases, right? Not all, but most, okay? Let me just tell you something. You can start a business, and you can endure this, and you have what it takes, all right? So know that you can, right? And I also want you to know that some of you guys don't give yourself enough credit. Let me just tell you, most of you graduated from elementary school. That was an accomplishment. You graduated from junior high. That was an accomplishment. You graduated from high school. That was an accomplishment. So when you start to deny yourself of your past, of all the things you've done, and you don't give yourself credit for, that's outrageous. You know, one of the things I did is I start to forget all the things I've done in my life. Right? I start to think about, oh my God, I did this, I did that. Oh yeah, look at this, look at that, right? In fact, you know, the other day, my son, where's that certificate thing? Is that around here somewhere? You know, we're doing some like spring cleaning or whatever it is. And, you know, it's interesting, you know, some of the things that we found. And, you know, my oldest son, Matthew, you know, I was like, hey, Matt, I said, you know, look what I found, buddy. And it's just like, it's in this like folder, like it's like in a folder like this, just some like, I don't know, like a folder, right? And in here was an award from the city of Los Angeles to my son, right? And I was like, do you remember this? And he's like, no, I didn't even know I had that. Like he forgot he got a certificate, an award of merit from the city of Los Angeles, right? So, and I was like, bro, like, dude, you need to go and put this in a frame. And he's like, I totally forgot I had that, you know? And so we forget the things that we've done in life. So I want you to take a moment today, right? As you're sitting there having, you know, lunch, breakfast, dinner, whatever, brunch with your father and or with your mother, that you start to write down the things that you've done in your life. And you're going to shock yourself to find out what you've done. And you still, like, if you sit here, like the other day, you know, one of my associates, okay, Anna, said, you know, I'm only, she said, I'm only like certain like years old, right? Can I share your age? Yeah. Okay. How old are you again?
24 right now.
24. Okay. So Anna, and you're like, who's Anna? She's one of my associates, right? Anna's 24 years old. And she says, oh my God, I can't believe I'm already like 24. And I'm like, you know, just think about what you've done in 24 years, young lady. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, just think about all the things you've done in that 24-year period. She's like, okay. And I was like, just think about that for a second and just reflect on all the things you've done over 24 years. And she says, oh my God, it's like a lot. Like I've done so much in 24 years. And I said, and by the way, 5 of those, you weren't doing anything. Your parents were doing it, okay? So really only in 19 years, think about how many years, what you've been doing in 19 years. And she said, oh my God. So 19 years, right? So now I said, but by the way, now your life expectancy is like 100 right now. So at the age of 100, you still have 4 more lifetimes. Like everything you've done in the last 20 years, you've got 4 more of those, right? I mean, the other day, like somebody said, oh my God, I'm like 40 years old. I said, just think about that for a second. You still have an entire lifetime ahead of you to still do so many things. And what are you going to do? Not do your best, not give your all, not go and start playing the victim card. Like, oh, I got, these are the cards that were dealt to me. You can't play the victim card right now. Let me just tell you something. Steve Siebold said that a world-class leader is someone who knows how to what? Bounce back. In fact, one of the best quotes I ever heard is that a setback is to prepare you for a comeback. And so right now, folks, a lot of you have been set back. Remember December 31st? Remember New Year's Eve? We all sat there and said, Happy New Year! You guys remember that? We were blowing whistles and we were wearing our silly hats. We're all watching TV because we were watching the big balloon coming down. And all of a sudden we were kissing everyone we loved. We got on our phone. We're calling all our parents and siblings and people we care about and saying, Happy New Year. We love you. 2020 is going to be the greatest year ever. It's going to be the best year ever. And then boom. Boom, right? Like it's like we all hit a wall, and one of the biggest walls we ever hit. And all of a sudden this pandemic just hijacked our life in so many ways. We lost so many people in our lives. Think about that. People we love and care about, we lost them. We couldn't even visit them in the hospital. We couldn't even go to their funeral and have a funeral for them. And so I want you to realize that all of a sudden there's a setback and we've now become what? Discouraged, okay? And I want you to realize that, I want you to bounce back. I want you to realize that a setback is to prepare you for a comeback. And now I want you to start thinking comeback. I want you to start fighting for your promotions. I want you to start doing what you did in the past where you had some successes, okay? Now look, similar characteristics in people who do pretty well for me are people who played sports. If you played sports, you're a competitor. If you were in the military, right, you've got discipline. If you're good at sales, man, you can go out there and close. If you've made 6 figures in the past, then you can make 6 figures in the future. People who've been successful before doesn't mean that you can't be successful again. You can. If you're a firstborn child, guess what? Your mom and dad put a lot of pressure on you to become the leader of the pack, right? There's so much pressure for your parents always saying, you're the leader, set the example. Does that sound familiar, right? Be the leader. Your sisters and brothers are watching you, right? And then, and if you were a leader of something in the past, then you could be a leader now in the present, okay? So I want you to be a comeback artist. In fact, today, the 2 words is comeback artist, right? You are a comeback artist. And I want you to know that I believe in you. I want you to start to instill confidence. When people fail, when people begin to get discouraged, okay, I want you to instill confidence in them, right? The first time or 2 that people fail, they want to come to a crossroad, right? And all of a sudden they come to this crossroad and they're like, is this worth it? Can I do this? Do I have what it takes? And so either one, they're going to make a decision. They're either going to quit or they're going to continue going on, okay? Now, I want you to know that you got to have some resilience. Got to have some grit, right? But a lot of people aren't that determined, okay? So I want you to have that determination. You need to keep showing confidence in them, even when they're making mistakes and doing poorly, okay? You know, people screw up all the time, right? I screw up. I screw up every day, you know? And I'm glad I screw up every day because every day I screwed up, guess what? Every time I screwed up, it was another lesson learned. I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. Or I could have done this, but, you know, I can't go back in time. But all I can do is I can now what? Move forward from that stupid lesson. You know, that wasn't stupid. It was a great lesson that cost me, right, a relationship. It may have cost me money. It could have cost me something. Guess what? I learned from that. And that's how I become better. I don't stay bitter, I get better, okay? So I don't want you to be bitter. I want people right now to start forgiving everyone, you know, and not be bitter and start getting better, all right? Look, tell them about your past troubles and traumas. Like me, I'm sharing you guys, you know, I'm kind of opening up. I'm becoming vulnerable right now, right? And telling you guys, hey, I'm not perfect. I got a lot of imperfections, right? I've had a lot of ups and downs in my life too, right? Now, was I always financially independent? No, I was down at the bottom where my wife and I were splitting a taco or a burrito or a burger together because we couldn't buy 2 meals, right? 2 meals. Can you imagine that? We couldn't buy 2 meals. We used to pump $5 in our gas tank to get to the next destination, right? And then we get there and we'd ask somebody if we can borrow $5 because we left our wallet at home. We didn't leave our wallet at home. The wallet was in my pocket. I just didn't have any money, right? So I get, you know, so look, I'm telling you some of my past. I'm not making this up. It's real. And I want you to know that they don't realize that you have your share of flops and failures and fumbles, and let them know that success is a journey, right? Not a process, not a destination, right? Success is a journey, okay? In fact, Babe Ruth said, never let the fear of striking out get in the way. So yeah, you're going to strike out a whole lot. In fact, Babe Ruth has probably striked out more than anybody else. Kobe Bryant probably missed the baskets more than anybody else, right? But it's all about that experience, okay? It's the experience. So experience some wins together here. Experience. So here's the thing. Winning is motivating. Love it, okay? Winning is motivating. I love to win. Of course, who doesn't want to win? I love to win, okay? Just making sure. I'm going to go just a little bit over time and I'm almost done, okay, you guys? So hang with me. I hope you're getting some value out of this. I hope I'm not in your grill. If you like what I'm sharing, just do me a favor and do a thumbs up or something. I wish I could see you guys, but I can't. But experience, you know, whatever you guys are experiencing right now, winning is motivating. I love to win. Who sits there and goes, I like to lose. I want to start this game, but I want to be the loser. I'm going to lose starting now. No, we want to win, right? If winning isn't exciting, why do we even keep score? Right? I mean, we keep score so we can go, oh, I won, right? I mean, you should see our house right now. It's like we've got this ping pong table, as I was telling you guys, and now we got like this whole, like, you know, everybody plays each other and then like the champion wins. And I have to tell you guys, you know who the champion is in this house for ping pong? You guys want to know who it is? It ain't me, it's Arlene, right? Is it Arlene? Yeah, it's Arlene, isn't it? Yeah, she's kicking all our butt. Now I kind of wonder if she did that intentionally, knowing that she was like a semi professional ping pong player and she's spanking all of us. So it's been quite humbling. So I want to play a different game now, right? But I hate losing, but winning is motivating. It is, right? So let me just tell you something. When people sense victory, right, they sacrifice to succeed. They look for ways to win. They follow the game plan. They help other teammates win, right? And so victory is great, all right? Now, look, when people sense defeat, they give as little as possible. They look for excuses. They become tired. It's exhausting. They forsake the game plan, and then they start hurting others, okay, because they feel defeated. And I think that a lot of what's going on today in our world is we feel defeated, right? And I want you to know that, you know, we are going to conquer COVID-19. We will, okay? How do I know that? When HIV came out and AIDS, we're like, this was it. Like we thought it was the end of mankind. And then guess what? We've tackled that. You know, smallpox, we tackled that. Chickenpox, we got vaccines. So we as a society, you know, will defeat COVID-19 as well. All right. And so understand that we will come out of this at the end, you know, long term for the future generations to come, we will prevail. Okay. Now, to help people believe that they can become victorious. Okay. So this is great. If people sense victory versus sensing defeat, right? And you look at the side-by-side comparison, we want to have more victorious moments. So the question is, so how do we help people become more victorious, okay? So we got to put them in a position to experience small successes. So, you know, you like do a little something to make them go, oh, hey, that was a win, okay? And then you help them step by step. You encourage them, right? them to perform tasks or take on responsibility you know they can do, that they can handle. Because as soon as they do that, they're like, oh, I got this. And you build up their confidence that way, right? You give them assistance that they need to succeed, okay? And so the result, okay, in time, right, is that their confidence grows. They're going to take on more difficult challenges, but they will be able to face them with confidence. And confidence, right? Confidence and competence, two different things, because of the positive track record they're finally developing, right? So it's the little mini successes. And that's how we experience some wins together, okay? And then the next thing here is you got to visualize their future success, right? You know, this is one of the great studies was a rat. You know, you're like, ooh, yeah, it was a rat in a laboratory, right? And so this is what they did. They actually took a rat into a jar, right? They dropped a rat into a jar of water that had been placed in total darkness. And they timed how long the animal would continue to swim before it gave up and allowed itself to drown. So let me just tell you something. The rat lasted a little more than 3 minutes before it actually died, okay? Now, here's what they did. Now, just understand that, right? Pitch dark, no hope, total isolation. Within 3 minutes, the rat died. Now, watch. They dropped another rat into the same jar, but allowed a little bit of light to shine inside, right? And do you know that the rat kept swimming for 36 hours? Okay, 36 hours, okay? The result is almost 700 times longer because even a rat could see, right, and see that there's light at the tunnel, right, that there was hope, that there was a chance, okay, just because of a little bit of light, 700 times longer, okay? So right now, I wish our media and our TVs and our news and all these people would just shed some light rather than like every day, like all their broadcasting is protests and riots and people getting killed and police officers getting killed. And it's just like, then it feels like there's no hope. But if we just go, wow, is there anything good going on in our society? And if we collectively, the people that are on this webinar right now, if we can all turn around and shed some hope, then guess what? We're going to see some success happen, okay? So if this is all true of animals, especially a rat, think about the compounding effect, right, of visualization that can be on people who are capable of higher reasoning, right? I mean, we're able to reason, all right? And so if we can just all sit here and somehow rationalize this and visualize that there's hope at the end of the tunnel, then guess what? You know, there's a lot more hope. You know, they say that a person can live 40 days without food, right? 4 days without water, and 4 minutes without air or oxygen. But you know what? But only 4 seconds without hope. And this is why we're sitting here, we as a society, it looks like we're spiraling out of control right now because we feel like there's no hope, right? I mean, seriously, like I really feel like we need to get rid of all these politicians, man. God, I mean, it's like, what are they doing, right? Get rid of, we need to just shut off the media. I think we should like for like, like a week, just shut down social media. Like just shut it off. No TV, no news, no newspaper, like nothing for like a week. And all of a sudden, let me just tell you, it's like the peace that would maybe start to instill into our lives. So let me just tell you something, as we continue to visualize their success, you as a leader, you as a parent, you as an entrepreneur right now, you must cast vision for others and paint a picture of future success. You need to build them up, your associates, your family members, your children. You need to constantly motivate them and give them reasons to keep going, right? Just keep on going, man. And then guess what? I want you to start to expect a new level of living, new level of living. When I talk about a new level of living, you have the goal of helping others see beyond today, to see beyond what we're experiencing right now, to see beyond their current circumstances and begin dreaming again, big dreams. Okay, when you begin to put faith in people, you help them expand their horizons and motivate them to move to a whole new level of living. Okay, so let me just tell you something. Every single day, I want you to EPR people. As I said earlier, E stands for encourage, P stands for praise, and R stands for recognize everyone every day. Okay, today is a day that you recognize your mother and your father. Your mother, who may be paying, because she might be a single parent, and she's playing the role of mother and father. And it's not easy, you know, and if you're a single dad, you're playing the role of mom and dad, and that's not easy. Okay, so I can't imagine, you know, how difficult it is to be a parent, especially a single parent, where you have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 kids and 5 kids, you're like, holy smokes, how do I do this? How do I manage all this finances? I don't have a job. I have no income, right? Everything seems to be going crazy. My children, I got to sit there. You're in isolation in your bed at nighttime. You're by yourself. You're sleeping tucked underneath your sheets in your bed, and you're asking yourself, can I do this? And the answer is, yes, you can. All right? Yes, you can. So to help people believe that they can achieve victory, put them in a position to experience small successes. The winner's edge is all in the attitude, your attitude, not your aptitude, not your aptitude, okay? The winner's edge is all about your attitude. In fact, you know what? As I sit here and summarize this for you guys, I want to show you something here in just a moment. That this everything I've shared with you here today, this word believe is an acronym. B-E-L-I-E-V-E is an acronym, and B stands for believe. The letter E stands for emphasize. The letter L stands for list. I means to instill. Not number, but E stands for experience. V is to visualize, and E stands for expect. I hit on all these today. Did I go overtime? Yeah, I did. So forgive me. But it's important. This lesson was so important today. I want you to start to believe and start to have some faith. And I want you to realize that what makes up 100% in life, that numbers don't lie. Okay, numbers don't lie. For those of you that are engineers, and a lot of times engineers, it's hard for you to show your emotions. You have emotions, you just don't display it like other people. I mean, there's a lot of people who hold it in, right? They don't even know how to cry. They don't know, they say, their excuse is like, real men don't cry. That's nonsense, right? Why can't real men cry? That's not an ingredient. That's not, that's not like an ingredient or a prerequisite to be a man, is that you don't cry. Okay, it's okay to show your emotions. It's just you hold it in. And I don't think you should hold it in. If you got something, let it out. Let it go. But look, numbers don't lie. If you're very technical, right, and you like to hold your feelings in, know that numbers don't lie. And in fact, you know what? They say knowledge is everything. Knowledge is everything. In fact, the other day, my daughter, Kayla, was saying to me, she says, Dad, you know what? I think I want to, when I go to, she's in college now, and she's studying at SC, and, she says, I think I want to get my degree in this, and then I want to get a minor. I want to get all this because, if I get all these degrees, knowledge is power. And I said, actually, Kayla, I said, I love that you shared that, but knowledge alone is not power. And she says, what do you mean? She says, I've been told, my professor said knowledge is power. And I said, well, knowledge is power and knowledge is everything. Then why aren't these smart people so broke? Why are their lives upside down? Like, not all of them, but many of them, right? Why are people so smart, not rich financially? So knowledge is not everything. In fact, if I add up the numbers to the letters, it's only 96%, right? So it's not 100%. So what could it possibly be? It's hard work, right? If I take these numbers and add them up with the letter of the alphabet, right? You know, H is number, right? H is number 8 of the alphabet. A is number 1, and et cetera, et cetera. You guys get this? Well, hard work, everybody says hard work is everything. Well, I disagree. I mean, there's a lot of people who work really hard, right? Like my gardener, right, works really hard, and he makes a wonderful living, but he's not rich. So hard work is not 100%, right? In fact, it's only 98%. So what could it possibly be? Well, I looked up another word, right? And that other word that I looked up is a word called ass kissing, right? And I look at this word ass kissing, and you add up these numbers, and guess what? Ass kissing only adds up to what? 118%. In fact, man, you know what? Ass kissing gets you over the top, right? No, don't do any ass kissing, right? Don't be a big brown noser, okay? No, you need to have some pride. Okay, and so here's the secret. Remember I told you everything comes down to not your aptitude, but it comes down to your attitude. If I take this word attitude and line it up with the numbers, guess what it adds up to? It adds up to 100%, folks, 100%. So guess what? Your attitude is everything right now. We need like an attitude adjustment. Everyone right now needs to stop. We need an attitude adjustment. Everybody needs to take a setback a little bit, step back a little bit, you know? And so understand that your attitude is everything, 100%. So you are the architects of your future, folks, and you know that, okay? And you need to start having a plan. What does your blueprint look like right now? What does your blueprint look like right now? How are you gonna change and adapt to what's going on? And understand that we got to start changing you. We got to change you. You are currently under construction, as I am currently still under construction. I got to change me every day, okay? As I said, I'm not, this talk I'm giving you guys right now is a talk I'm giving myself. I'm having a conversation with me, myself, and I, okay? So I want you to have a conversation with you today, all right? And we got to change you. And I want you to know that I believe in you. Get it? Believe. All the things we talked about in you. And so I want you to really take this opportunity today. Enjoy the sun. Enjoy the time with your father, your mother, and your family. And I just want to make sure that you get with the person who invited you today. You know, learn how money works. Get the details on how to make more money. I'd love to meet with you via a virtual like this. We don't have to meet face to face, although I'd love to. And then I want you to go and order some books. Go read The Retirement Miracle. Tony Robbins got a book called Money. And if you look at that little circular thing there, it just says revised with new material. A lot of the new material that he talks about in that book are the things that we do at our company. Okay? I want you to maybe go and read or listen to these books right here. And then I want you to go and join us next week on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. and listen to Randy's spelling and what he has to say. And I want you to register for this today before you can't get on next week on Tuesday. And I want to wish everybody again a happy Father's Day, right? And have an amazing, beautiful weekend. We pray for you. We think about you. We wish you guys all the best. And I want you to know that we will prevail. God bless every single one of you guys, and have yourself a shin-tastic Saturday. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you on Tuesday at 6:30.